Hey, what am I working on here and why am I flipping these charred scallions in the pan without tongs? Well, the first one is my fingers have turned to asbestos, and the second is because we're testing a new recipe. If you want to find out what we're using these charred scallions for and how they're going to elevate the dish, you're going to want to watch today. It's not just about using ingredients, it's about building flavors and layering flavors so that the dish as a whole is elevated. All right, today we're doing some recipe testing. Our first recipe we're testing today is a chimichurri seared chicken with roasted zucchini and 3-herb russets. What we're experimenting with here is a little bit different. Rather than just making a straight chimichurri and then coating the chicken, it's actually going to be half mayonnaise and half chimichurri. And the reason for that is the mayonnaise provides a base that coats the chicken, so when we sear it, all of the flavors and textures from the chimichurri actually stick to the chicken rather than running off. First of all, we start with the chimichurri, which is just a loose blend of very quickly blanched garlic, so it's not too astringent and harsh on the palate. So we blanch that for a minute in water and then shock it in cold water. And that's chopped parsley, oregano. We use a lot of red wine vinegar, a little bit of oil, salt, pepper, and chili flake. So the first thing that we'll do is coat our chicken. And this is fun because this is a new venture for us, so I get to learn in the process as well. So even though the chimichurri mayo is seasoned, we always season each individual step. You'd be surprised at how quickly those flavors diminish. A little bit of oil this time, which actually may be unnecessary, but just for flavor building, this is how we're going to do it. And a scoop over for 2 chicken breasts, probably about 1/3 of a cup, half a cup of this chimichurri mayonnaise. And the chimichurri is so thin that it will just come right off the chicken, but combined with the mayo, everything sticks. We've got a cast iron pan we're going to heat up quickly here. While that's heating up, we're going to season and lay out our zucchini and then out onto our sheet pan. And we're going to start with 12 minutes. Pan seems to be hot enough here. We're going to do medium-high so we don't burn it. The trick here is getting the pan hot enough so it develops color, but not so hot that it burns. Just keeping in mind that once you add the cold protein to the pan, in this case about 1 pound of chicken, it's going to bring the temperature of the pan way down. So you don't want to reduce it too soon. You want to kind of see what happens, see how fast it browns. And if it's browning too fast, turn the pan down. If it's browning at a good clip, we're just going to leave it as is. And you can see it's browning nicely. We're going to give it a little bit longer. So we got our russets we're going to season, oil. And remember, this is just for flavor building. We're going to figure out the exact components for oil, salt, and pepper, and things like that. We've got our 3-herb badia mix, which is highly seasoned. It's got a little turmeric in it for color too. And we'll do a nice toss there as well. Here's our chicken. You see that chimichurri stuck right to it. So when we make our chimichurri, it should be very loose. It's mostly vinegar with a little bit of oil, lots of parsley and oregano, garlic, as we said, salt, pepper, chili flake. The only variable here will be if the chimichurri mayo isn't sticking to the chicken enough, then we've probably got too much liquid in our chimichurri base here. So we would cut back on the oil first and then the vinegar second, add that to the mayo, and if that seems to be a little bit thicker and sticking better, then we'll stay with that ratio. So our next meal is going to be a pork dish, and what we found for our Strong Kitchen customers is that a lot of people don't eat pork. That we've used a pork tenderloin, and the reason for that is that they're smaller, so they cook faster. They have a lot more flavor than the full pork loin, better texture. It's more tender, so it works really well for our purposes, and you can slice it nice and thin so it stays moist and tender. We've got a very aggressive and smoky marinade. That's canned chipotles and adobo. And so those are basically just smoked jalapenos in the adobo, which is like a tomato sauce. And so it's a very smoky, spicy flavor. We cut that with balsamic vinegar, which is sweet and tangy. Add a little bit of oil so the mixture doesn't burn, and then fresh oregano and salt and pepper. So it's very sweet and smoky marinade, which is going to go great with pork. We've got some tricolored peppers here, fresh thyme, paprika, a little bit of oil. Get some nice color on these. And then basic oil and salt green beans, so they're sweet and crunchy, helped cut the other flavor, the spiciness of the pork. That's gonna be a low carb meal, and because it's low carb, what that allows us to do is incorporate a little bit more fat into the meal since we have more calories to play with. Pork tenderloin, extremely lean, green beans, peppers, very low carb. So we've got probably another 100, 150 calories in the meal that we can play with. So this is a charred scallion and feta vinaigrette, red wine vinegar, lemon juice, fresh scallions that we char in an unseasoned dry pan, so it gets a lot of color without drying them out. And that gets blended up with feta, salt and pepper, a little bit of honey, and a little bit more fresh oregano. So that oregano flavor is in the entire dish, kind of tying it together. And we've got sweet smokiness, freshness of the vegetables, and the little salty sweetness of that dressing. That's gonna come together really nicely. So we have our trimmed pork tenderloin. If you're not sure what that looks like, that's what that looks like. I'm gonna start with our marinade. It's okay if it's a little bit too much because we can leave some behind. I'm gonna give it a little pinch of salt since we're always seasoning. We're gonna massage these, really get them coated well. And this seems to be a nice viscosity for this sauce. It's sticking well. And then we're gonna let these marinate while we lay out everything else, just for a few minutes. Next we have our our tri-colored peppers. A little bit of oil, not too much because we actually want these to develop some color. We don't really want them to fry in the oven. A little bit of salt, a little bit of paprika. One thing a lot of people don't use enough of is spices. Not only is it flavor, it's essentially calorie-free, and it helps with color development as well. Mix it up. We want that nice, almost kind of like dirty look from the paprika, and that's gonna develop a lot of flavor. Spread them out thin, a lot of airflow, color development. We're gonna pop these in the oven. Then here for our green beans, very basic, just salt. And we're gonna keep these al dente, so they've got that nice, fresh taste to them. One trick for proteins is we roast all of our proteins on foil. That encourages better heat distribution and color development. These will also be marinated a minimum of 24 hours, which goes a long way towards making them taste good. This will probably take 15 to 20 minutes. The chimichurri chicken is done roasting. We're gonna let it rest. I think that looks great. Clearly the chimichurri stuck to the top of the chicken. I might go a little thicker next time with the marinade to see if we can get even more of a crust, but I'm happy with this for now. International sign for hot handle. Put your oven mitt on the handle. All right, so we are going to taste test our chimichurri chicken with our 3-herb badia potatoes and our zucchini. What we're really looking for here is a nice, fresh, al dente texture to our zucchini. So we cut them into cubes so they don't dry out too much. We're gonna plate those up. Now the real trick here is whether we got enough flavor into that sauce stuck onto the chicken. All right, so we're gonna try this out. I'm gonna try each component individually first. And that's plenty moist. I don't expect a lot of moisture from the potatoes. I'm more looking for like flavor density here. And that's extremely flavorful. You can really taste that badia. And then our chicken. And that chicken is very, very flavorful. You get all the flavor of the chimichurri. That means it's stuck to it. A little moisture from the mayonnaise. One thing that's going to be different when we make this en masse is that it's gonna have more time to marinate, which is gonna help actually tenderize the chicken and make it more flavorful. So I like this a lot. I think this is a really fresh, flavorful summer meal. It needs a little bit of chimichurri at the end, which is what we're gonna do. We'll run it through again, make sure all the boxes are checked off, and then we'll solidify the macros, solidify the recipe for commercial processing, and then we'll push it through on the menu. All right, so we're gonna taste our chipotle balsamic pork. I love the nice caramelized glaze on top of the pork loin here. You can see that it browned a little bit on the foil, which is the sugar content from the balsamic vinegar brown there, but it didn't burn on the pork. So this is kind of a great balance of sweetness and sugar without being so much that it burns. We just got that nice caramelization and the sauce stuck to the outside really well. So that's excellent. Remember, this is just for flavor testing. That's the most important thing. And we want to keep the vegetables here kind of basic because the pork's going to be so flavorful. And then we have that dressing as well. So we want the vegetables to really soak up that dressing. All right, so now we're going to taste this dish. First thing I want to do is taste the pork by itself. I want to see how much that marinade carries over. And it looks nice and juicy, which I like. Super tender. You can definitely get that backdrop of smokiness and sweetness. But one thing that we found is sometimes a straight marinade on a protein, especially something really lean and not quite as flavorful. Like I would never say a pork loin is as flavorful as a chicken thigh. So sometimes the flavor fades. So if we don't use a really aggressive marinade, we need to have a dressing or something to round it out. So this is a great backdrop, but we want something to elevate the dish. Well, that's where our charred scallion and feta vinaigrette comes in. I love the pork. The veggies are nice and fresh. We're gonna see how this brings everything together. Make sure that dressing doesn't clash with the balsamic chipotle marinade on the pork. And again, I'm excited here because we got a little extra fat to work with, which is always fun when making a dressing. So we're gonna taste it on the pork first, that's what counts. That's really good. You get the smokiness of the charred scallion, which ties in well with the chipotle. It's a little bit cheesy because of the feta. It's tangy because of the red wine vinegar and the lemon. Our second test is how well the veggies do with it. Next, that's excellent. Vegetables are nice and crisp. They taste like they've been tossed in a vinaigrette. And I think this combination pairs really, really well together. If it allows, if the recipe allows, if we have a little bit more calories, I'm gonna add even more feta to this dressing. We're probably shooting for a fat loss meal around 400, 450 calories each. So if this came out super low, like 320 calories, we're gonna sneak a little bit more flavor and a little bit more fat into the meal to take advantage of the fact that we have some more calories to work with and make the meal taste even better. Listen, we've already got to taste these great meals, but we're looking for more feedback. Dining alone's not that fun. I got to taste it, but I want to hear what you think. So we have our pork meal, which is our pork tenderloin, marinated in our smoky chipotle balsamic dressing with a charred scallion and feta vinaigrette over green beans and paprika peppers. That's amazing. We want to hear what you think about the sauce. We want to hear what you think about the marinade. And then we have our chimichurri chicken, half chimichurri, half mayonnaise, marinated, seared, and roasted, paired with zucchini and our 3-herb badia potatoes. So that's really herb forward, crunchy, with a nice sweetness, and then that very rich chimichurri flavor on top. And we're debating, do we add more chimichurri to the chicken afterward? Do we put some on the side as a sauce? We know everybody loves sauce, so very few people will say no to that. But we want to hear what you think. We want to know how we can elevate this and make it better. And so comment, taste below. We'll choose 5 people for the pork meal, 5 people for the chicken meal, and we're gonna send these out to you so you can get advanced taste testing and feedback for us so we can make these dishes even better. Hey, listen, I'm excited to hear what you guys think. Maybe next time I won't be dining alone.